Yeah, just give me all of the respect. I use your reverence as a reward. They know that I got the power and they looking at me like the source. Take my throne, boy, stop that. I'm on my hill, can't top that. You take this L, yeah, rock that. You know, I never needed a cosign. Yeah, I'm gon' shine. I rock independent. Representing like I work for the Senate. You double LC, you ain't got no business.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, you fine, beautiful people. Knicks Nation, stand up. KOD Universe, stand up. And all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to this Friday, February 24th edition of the Knicks Morning Brew. I am your guy, Hector, and I'm chilling with the stylist, the one and only Phil Portito. Philip, good morning.
What up, what up, what up? How's everybody doing this morning? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to our boy Jiggaman Porto. We love you. We miss you. He's in the back cooking up some goodies for later on in the day and cooking up some goodies for this episode. So I'm excited, man. You know, we're back today. It feels like forever. Feels like forever since we've seen the Knicks take the court. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to play tonight. I'm excited to chat today. Things have been crazy, man. You know, we want to thank everybody. The support has been crazy. I woke up to a bunch of retweets of people talking about how this is a show worth watching. And that means a lot, to see the people really, really enjoying what we're putting out there. So thank you guys so much for your constant support, especially those that are constantly here week in, week out on the chat. But I'm looking forward to it. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, 100%, bro. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the Brew crew in the building. Blood of the Panther, the number one moderator of all the moderators, is in the building. What it do? Salute. We got my guy TC Stales in the building. TC, I see you, baby. Of course, we got the one and only Mr. Pudgy Nice in the building as well. Sunil, good morning, my brother. Hope all is well, Sunil. Hope all is well, Sunil. And I can't forget infamous New King in the building. Knicks family, let's get it. Yes, absolutely right. And like you said, Phil, when it comes to the Knicks, it has felt like it's been almost an entire offseason since we've seen them. Right, I understand it was just the All-Star break, but I'm going through withdrawals, bro. I'm feeling like Pookie from New Jack City. I need my fix for the New York Knicks, and I need it right now. And tonight, it's Friday Night Knicks. You can't get any more better than a Friday Night Knick, bro.
I know. For me, I don't have work tomorrow. I don't have, anything that I have to shoot tomorrow.
Right.
And so I get to stay up. Probably let the my little man stay up with me. Watch at least the first half with me. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking to see us come out guns blazing. That's what we were doing right before we went into the All-Star game. And so that's what I'm really hoping to see is them come out guns blazing and us see something that we can kind of bank on, because a lot of people are like second half, after the All-Star game, it really shows who your team's going to be. What happened in the beginning is great. This is crunch time. This is where rubber meets the road. You find out what your team is made of. And so I want to see what our team's made of. I want to see us fully execute in the second part of the season. And I'm excited because I think that we will. I think our team is going to deliver.
My man, Blood of the Panther. I need that Robert Randolph song right now, but not that Robert Randolph prediction. I see you, Blood, but yeah, bro. And it could get a lot better because there's a possibility that Mitchell Robinson could come back off of his injury. We're waiting for the news. So trust me, guys, as soon as the news drops, if we're on air while the news drops, you all will be the first to know. I can't wait to see what this team looks like as a whole when we get Mitchell Robinson back. Now that we have Josh Hart, there's a few questions that we have to talk about when it comes down to the last 22 games of the season, the last 22 games. We're on a stretch run right now, right? So Phil and myself, we're going to go through what this team needs to do, what we need to get from individual players for us to have a successful stretch run towards the playoffs. Phil, I'll throw it to you first and let you start this off. In order for our New York Knicks to have a successful stretch for the postseason, what do you think either A, the team needs to do, or B, individual players and who need to step up in your eye? Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so I'll start with A. I say it all the time. When we play 4 quarters of basketball, we are hard to beat. Like, that's the thing, is when we play 4 quarters of basketball, we are a hard team to compete with. But when we slow down in the third and we give everything we got, and we give everything we got, you funny little bit, and we give everything we got in the first half, and then we come out and look like, a G League team in the second half, that's just not going to work, So I feel like getting Josh Hart has kind of made people see what it looks like to have a player that is going to play with, full intensity for 4 quarters. And it's kind of helped elevate the rest of the players. So that's what we need from the whole team. When it comes to what I think needs to improve, the major thing, and I give, kudos to the homie Smooth, because he's been on this train from like beginning half of the season, that how far our team will go is going to be dictated by how much we see out of RJ Barrett. The reason being is that you know what you're going to get from Jalen Brunson, and you know what you're going to get from Julius Randle. However, since we don't have that like elite star, that some teams have and they bank on, we know that we have gone the different route where we've spaced out the players to be that impact. Instead of that one impact guy, we've spread it out between our mid 3. And so in order to make sure that that is effective, all the guys need to come to play. And with RJ Barrett having not just like drops, but like straight like cliffhanging like fall offs, that can't happen if we're going to be successful in the playoffs, because every other player has had a bad game here or there, but he has had some like pitfalls, and that's going to be crucial for us, because when he is good, he is freaking good, and he helps our team immensely. But when he is bad, he hurts our team immensely. So those are the 2 points for me. What about you? What do you think moving forward we need to see from the team or players?
Yeah, I got both A and B, but before I do that, I got to bring up my man TC Still. He said Phil looks like he's ready to play. Put him in, Tibbs. That's one thing I want to say. If you ever been on the court in New York City, if you ever been on a concrete court in New York City, if you go to the court, the public park, and you see someone dressed like Phil is dressed right now, a jersey with a white tee underneath it, please watch out, because you're about to get bust on that court. But for me, bro, when it comes to this team, as a team defense, that's what we're going to need from this team down the stretch run, and when we get to the postseason as well. Players knowing their roles, where they need to be at in certain moments, what's it called for in different situations, what's the scheme going to be down the stretch, who's going to start the game, who's going to close out the game as well. That's something that Tom Thibodeau needs to figure out over these next 22 games before we get to the postseason. Now, on an individual aspect, I just got to give you credit. Shout out to you for calling out RJ Barrett, because it's true. RJ Barrett, as Knicks fans, we love RJ Barrett, right? It's our young kid that was drafted number 3, highest draft pick since Patrick Ewing. We get that. But when it comes to this season, the non-development or the lack of taking it to the next level for RJ Barrett, it shows, and it shows tremendously, not only on the offensive side of things recently, but defensively as well. He's been a liability. Let's be honest. So down these next 22 games, if we have Jalen Brunson scoring and if we have Julius Randle scoring, we need to know who's going to be that third scorer, who's going to be that third option. On a given night, you get it out of IQ, you get it out of Quentin Grimes, but you need to have it solidified. That way IQ and Quentin Grimes can still add to what they're doing without it looking like a major flaw to the team, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When it comes to RJ Barrett, we've seen so many games from RJ Barrett score 30 points, but he'll respond the next game with 17 points. Score 34 points, he'll respond the next game with 14 points. We needed consistently RJ Barrett. We understand RJ Barrett historically in the second half of the seasons. That's when he played his best basketball, right? Since his rookie year, since he's coming to the league, historically he has been playing better basketball in the second half of the season. If that happens, as we think what we can get out of RJ Barrett, right? As Knicks fans, we have our expectations. If he could give us what we expect out of RJ Barrett, being a consistent scorer and being a consistent defender on both sides of the ball, going down this stretch run for the last 22 games, we can make damage in the playoffs when it comes to the first round, right? I don't want to put our expectations up there, but the key to it all is going to come down to RJ Barrett and what level of play he plays going down this stretch run the second half of the season, bro, in my opinion.
Yeah, and see, that's the crazy thing and the hard thing that is a hard pill for me to swallow. Is like you can look at certain players and you can say, oh, yeah, they were a bust. They were a bust for the team. But you can't say that with RJ. And that's the frustrating part, is that, like, we have seen what this kid can do, and if we saw that on a consistent level, like, there wouldn't be any RJ Barrett is going to be traded kind of conversations. Because the RJ Barrett, when he is good, is like all-star caliber, like, do not mess with me, do not, like, punch the sleeping lion kind of RJ Barrett. But when he is bad, he is extra bad. Like, it's not just like, oh, the food wasn't cooked well. It's like there was no seasoning whatsoever. What is this trash? And that's that's the frustrating part as New York fans, is like, give us one or the other. Let us say that you're a bust, or let us say that we made the best decision. And I know I'm not coming at him, because we've talked about this many, many times. There have been players that are like stars now that it took 6 to 8 seasons to get to that spot. And I'm not asking him to be like star groundbreaking caliber, though. I'm asking him to not go for 41 night and go for like 18% shooting the next night.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking for. Like, something consistent, something that we can rely on, because I would rather have an RJ that comes out 25 points every night, 20 to 25 points every night, than 40 points one night and 2 points the next, because that next game could be the game that we need him in the playoffs for us to make it to the next round. We need to be able to, like, actually bank on that he's going to come out and perform. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be star caliber, but it has to be consistent. We need consistency from RJ moving forward. And when you talk about coaching, I think that's going to be huge. We could talk till we're blue in the face about what we need from our players. But if our play,
and whenever Phil be given the hot takes, he gets frozen sometimes, right? Because James Dolan cannot stand Phil Porto, right? That's we've come to that conclusion. Every time you're spitting, bro, every time you're eating and you're spitting, your internet just freezes. James Dolan, he gets a notification on his phone and he's like, I have to stop his internet. I'm gonna stop his internet.
James Dolan is the same guy who shut me down on Twitter. Like,
that is
him
a fact.
And Elon Musk were over dinner and they canceled my account, and now they're trying to cancel my internet. Dolan, I'm coming for you. But no, for real, like, it doesn't matter how good our guys are. If they are exhausted from this 9-man rotation come playoff time, it doesn't really matter. 7 games is a lot different than seeing a team in 1 game. So 100%. I'm hoping that we start to implement some people in there real quick. So I'm going to turn my camera off real quick. Got to switch.
Nah, go ahead. You good. You good. I just want to give a shout out real quick. We got a few new people who just came into the chat right now. Day is in the building. Delano Still Jr. This is the only DSJ that we acknowledge, not the other one who was with the Knicks for a little bit. My man Shy Legacy is in the building. Brother Shy, what is good? Peace, God. Hope all is well. New York Knicks City and Squad is in the building. City and Squad, what it do, baby? Salute. And everybody, just so you guys know, I'm going to put it in the chat again. We are moving our content to our new channel. So if you aren't subscribed to the new channel, subscribe to the new channel. It's called the Morning Brew Sports. It's right there. The link's right there. Please make sure you go subscribe to the new channel. We got a lot of new content coming out on that channel. The Knicks Morning Brew, the Yankees Morning Brew will be moving to that channel. Alongside, you see the Eddie and Smitty show is coming. If you know I got Smitty from the VSN basketball station who be on Twitter, and if you know I got Eddie Presty who be on Twitter, free my man Eddie too. I'm tired of people complaining and reporting my man Eddie. Listen, if you're on Twitter and if you see something that you don't like, just move on. You don't got to report somebody. Either block their channel or either block their content or just move on. That's it. Shout out to my man Trippy OG, the OG Trippy of the Trippy VSN. What it do? My man 19 comments in the building. Salute. What it do? Phil, 19 comments saying that your mic's a little low. So make sure you raise that when you come up. You know, 19 comment. He's in charge of the IT. He's in charge of the IT department over here at the Morning Brew Sports. He makes sure that everybody's volume's good.
How we sounding?
To me, it sounds good. To me, it sounds good. But we need to get approval from the king of the IT over here. 19 comments. Salute to you, my brother. So we got our first topic to talk about besides what we led the show with right now, because we got a little bit of Knicks news, right? The New York Knicks fans, their answers have been answered. I mean, their prayers have been answered. Trevor Keels has signed a 10-day contract with the New York Knicks. Trevor Keels was drafted second in the second round by the Knicks in this last draft. He was sent to the G League. He's been in the G League this entire season, but he's now here with the big boy club. 10-day contract for your boy Trevor Keels. Phil, what's your thoughts?
You
got approval from comment. He said nice and crispy now.
Thank you, good sir. Yeah, bro. It's weird because you want to see guys succeed. He was one of our picks. We want to see guys succeed. But I also don't think it's going to do anything. Like, I don't think he's going to see a single minute of playing time in these next 10 days, So for me, it's one of those things that it's like, why do we do this to people? Why do we say, hey, welcome to the big show? You're never going to get a single line. Your script has no words. Hey, you're an extra.
Hey, at least they gave him that number 3 jersey, right? At least they gave him that number 3 jersey to sit on the bench with.
Nah, he's not wearing that. I don't know where that came from. It's got to be something else because Josh Hart is rocking that number 3.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. Well, This is just a graphic for now, right? This is, that falls on our graphic department.
Yeah, fire him. But yeah, so that's the thing is like, I don't see anything coming from it. I feel like if we are going to add someone to the roster, it should be someone that is going to be able to play when it comes to playoff time when we need them. I don't think that I think we've set him up to fail. You bring him in to the team, when
it is red shirt season. Yeah.
Yeah. We bring him in a time where it's very crunch time to perform. And the first time you're going to give him NBA minutes is when the games are most important. If he ever played, that is setting this dude up for failure. Especially in a Tibbs system where Tibbs is looking for any excuse to say, nope, can't play you. This is why, so you're going to bring a guy who's been in G League all year into the second half of the season, in crunch time. No, I don't think it's going to benefit in any way, shape, or form. I think we should have saw mighty number 7 be our next signing for the rest of the season, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what do you think about Trevor Keels? I'm not saying he's not a good player. I just don't think it's going to make any impact on us unless he comes out and all of a sudden he's God tier basketball player, which I don't see happening.
Well, that's the thing, Phil. With Tom Thibodeau, you don't know what goes on in that little bald head of his, right? With Tom Thibodeau, you don't know what's rattling along right there. He may have 3 or 4 strings of hair on the top of his head, but that brain be rattling ideas, right? Trevor Keels, when it comes to Trevor Keels, just like my man Blood of the Panther put in the chat earlier, Keels is definitely a project. Right, he's a project, but at the same time, he's been making progress this season in the G League. From the beginning of the G League to when he was called up recently, you've seen a big step up in his game. He's knocking down that three ball more consistently. His defense has never been an issue when it comes to Trevor Keels having the tools to play defense. It's more being consistent and not getting into foul troubles. And in the G League, if you watch any of the G League games, you see that he's gotten a lot better when it comes to staying out of foul trouble from Trevor Keels. That's always been his Achilles heel in the G League so far this season. Now, to your point, like you said, do I think he's going to come up and play God level tier? No, this is not the next Luau Deng for Tom Thibodeau, right? This is not the next Jimmy Butler for Tom Thibodeau. No, not at all. This is a guy that needs to sit on the bench and just need to hold a roster spot. And if it's going to be somebody, allow it to be Trevor Keels, who started the season in the G League, who worked on what he had to work on. Now he's with the big league club. Let him get a taste of what it is to be actually in the big leagues in the NBA. Will he get minutes? Will it be minutes that are important minutes? I don't think so. Not. I don't think so whatsoever. Will it be minutes when the team is blowing out another team by 20 points in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left to go? Yeah, we could definitely see Trevor Keels getting some minutes when it comes to that aspect of games, or when it comes from that point of view. But being somebody to rely on to get important minutes down the stretch, I don't know. I don't think so. But hey, knock on wood, you never know, because injuries can happen a mile a minute, right? You could stub your toe and you could be out for 2 weeks in the NBA, right? We'll get to that later on also. But if there is an injury, like I said, if somebody was to go down, knock on wood, Trevor Keels, I would feel comfortable with knowing that he's the next man up to fill a spot. Say, like if Evan Fournier has to be called on to have some minutes, maybe him and Trevor Keels can split that minutes, right? But just saying, hypothetically, if someone gets injured, at least I know that we have somebody who has the ability to play defense, right? Coming off of the bench, right? It's not someone that I want to count on for the stretch run, but knowing that as a backup option, just in case if someone gets injured, I'm not mad at it. And at the same time, like you said, it's a guy that we drafted. We all love the homegrown talent. And if Trevor Keels can come up from the G League and be that homegrown talent, why not?
But here's the crazy thing for me is, like, we constantly are saying how our big thing right now is that we need to add, like, length to our roster. We need bigger guys, bigger wingspans. We need height. We need to be able to help when we're playing big teams. Why is it that everybody, like, is it one of those things that Tibbs doesn't really want people to be able to fully look down at him too much? Like, because every single player that we get is 6'5" or under. Like, we are not getting tall players at all. Like, well, Josh Hart, great.
If you think about it, everybody, Tom Thibodeau has to look up to everybody on that roster because he's short. So go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like it's like he's got a ceiling on the amount of height that he'll have on the team. Like, it's so weird. Like, Trevor Keels is 6'4". Like, so even though he can play the small forward at times, like, he's
that's a backup power forward, bro. Don't be mad. That's a backup to the backup power forward.
That dude is 6'4", and, like, I don't know, man. He's gonna be another, like, small forward shooting guard, which we all of a sudden have, like, a plethora of that size of player. So I don't really get it. I like Trevor Keels. I hope he's successful. I just don't really know how he fits, to be honest.
Well, you got to understand, Phil, in this era of Knicks basketball that we have been living in, or we have been going through for the past 5 seasons, our team, we're a different breed, right? One season, we signed 20 power forwards and have majority power forwards. The next season, we have Alec Burke as our point guard. We have no actual point guard on the team. And then this year, we decided we're going to go in with all the guards and have no backups to the big man. Isaiah Hartenstein and Jericho Sims, they play both power forward and center, right? But no, it's yeah, I see what you're saying when it comes to like Blood of the Panther. Tibbs think that big man, they don't play defense. That's what it is. Even if they're at the center, they don't play defense. I just think it's something to look towards the future. You know, like we both agreed, we don't think Trevor Keels is going to come up and play God level status, right? Yeah. If it's something that we can have for the practice squad, if it's something that can put the fire under the butts of Quentin Grimes and RJ Barrett, so they could be looking over their shoulder because someone else is up here playing who plays their position, could be calling for minutes or whatever. So it's something like that. I don't think it's nothing major. But let's jump into the next topic, because this is something that could be affecting not only us, but it affects another team. And it's a team that you could say we have a rivalry with over the past 2-3 seasons because of Trae Young. But the Atlanta Hawks, they fired their head coach, Nate McMillan, in the middle of the season after bringing them to the playoffs a couple seasons ago. You know, like you and I, we talked about with Jigga, the game against the Hawks on right before the All-Star break. It didn't look like the teammates of Trae Young were happy playing with Trae Young. And it seems like Trae Young, we've all know the rumors and all the tea leaves that have been coming out. Trae Young and Nate McMillan not liking each other, getting into arguments during practice and stuff like that. What's your take on this situation? And if you are the Knicks front office, are you calling Nate McMillan to replace Tom Thibodeau this offseason?
Yeah, so the whole thing is, I haven't seen massive flaws in how he runs the team. You know, like in the coaching situation that I've seen of him, I don't think that he's been a bad coach at all. I do think that once the front office decided to go, you know, geocaching and hunting for a new diamond in the rough, and they brought in DeJounte Murray, they just looked at it as the potential to have 2 stars, not what will the chemistry really be like. You know, they just looked at names on the back of the jersey as opposed to, will this really work? And if you look, him and Trae Young, DeJounte Murray and Trae Young are very similar. And it's not similar in a like Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart similar, where they're that they're similar enough that they're like best friends. But I think their similarities actually clash, because one of their personality traits that you see in both these players is they love to be that guy. They love to be the center of attention. They love to be the one that the team has to rely on. They love to be the one that in the tabloids and all that stuff are the ones that people are praising for their last minute gameplay. So you bring 2 of these guys into the same situation, and it's like a dogfight. You know, you're bringing 2 like fierce competitors that want the same exact thing, that aren't looking how they can help each other, but looking at what one robs from the other. And so it was just a crap storm from the get-go. And so then you have this coach that has already like built something there, now has to try to figure out how this works, sees that DeJounte Murray is the one that's actually like thriving even in the ugly environment, that rubs Trae Young wrong, and they start to have friction. So I think it was just like set to fail from the get-go. It sounded cool. It sounded like now the Hawks will really be competitors. And at the end of the day, Nate McMillan, unfortunately, has to be the one. Every team needs a scapegoat, you know? So if they're going to trade Trae Young at the end of the season, they don't want it to look like, oh, we traded him because it was a forest fire all season. You know, they want something to relinquish some of that responsibility. So Nate McMillan, unfortunately, was the scapegoat in that situation, so that come summer, when they do deal Trae Young, it's not with as much baggage and as much like bad rapport as it is right now, you know, because he doesn't look like a team player. He doesn't look like someone that'll work well with a coach. So what do? Fire the coach. Let some of that go away for Trae. Bring in someone that'll be a little more submissive to Trae, so that when Trae goes, you still get more value from Trae. That's my thoughts on the situation. I would look at him like I think what we saw of him when they did make a playoff run was really good. And I've seen him be able to bring really good things out of players that you wouldn't expect really good things to happen. You know, like. So I've seen some player development from him, and that's something that we are lacking in. So that's my thoughts on it. What about you? What do you think, like, the whole situation?
No, it's the situation is, I don't want to say it's hilarious, but I'm glad that it's happening to another organization and not our team, the New York Knicks. When it comes to this Trae Young situation, and DeJounte Murray situation. My man Shaun Cubes is in the building. Shaun, what it do? What it do? What it do? Salute. When it comes to this situation, it's funny, right? Because I can remember a couple of seasons ago when people were literally fixing their lips to say that Trae Young could be better than Steph Curry. Let me say this again. I remember a couple of seasons ago when people would fix their lips or people would crack their fingers to type on the interwebs, right? To type on Beyonce's internet and say that Trae Young would be better than Stephen Curry. This right now proves that that's not true and will never, ever, ever, ever be true. You can't play with your other teammates. You have teammates that look like they're disconnected from you. You have teammates that look like they're not in the game. John Collins looked like he checked out in the first quarter. I tell you all the time, you look like you was ready for All-Star break before All-Star break even happened, right? Joking back and forth. But ultimately, when the trade went through, right, when the Hawks got DeJounte Murray, I was upset because I wanted the Knicks to go after him, pair him with Brunson and Randall, right? But they paid extra, they got him. When that trade went through, I was thinking to myself, is this going to work out between him and Trae Young? Because it didn't look like it worked out between Trae Young's and John Collins, and they still got John Collins on the roster. So bringing in another guy that's going to need the ball, I didn't think that was going to work, and it definitely proves it wasn't working. Now, DeJounte Murray, he comes from the Greg Popovich system of things, right? He comes from San Antonio. He comes from that great culture and everything like that. Being in Atlanta, this is the first time in his NBA career he was able to go off when it comes to ISO ball, when it comes to him. And it shows when he is in control of the team has a better record with DeJounte Murray being the lead scorer in a game than they do with Trae Young being the lead scorer in the game. Trae Young, I'm not sure what team is going to trade for him this offseason. Maybe the Orlando Magic. Maybe the Magic see something in Trae Young that they may need. I don't know. But it's a sad sight to see, you know. Yeah. Would I want the Knicks to eliminate the Hawks in a playoff series in the first round? Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. But at the same time, as a Knicks fan, I'm just sitting back and I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I got my popcorn, right? I got the fire's on right now. It's like the house. You remember that meme with a little girl and the house is on fire and she's just looking back with a smile? That's how I am right now, seeing what's going on in Atlanta. I'm glad that it's happening to another franchise and not our franchise. Would I fire Tom Thibodeau in the offseason to hire Nate McMillan? No, because if you couldn't control Trae Young, then Julius Randle's going to punch you in the mouth, point blank, period. Right? I'm telling you that right now, right? So I don't see a situation or scenario where the Knicks let go Tom Thibodeau to bring in Nate McMillan. I just don't see that happening.
Honestly, I'm to the point where it's like, you ever seen someone who like does not want like what's on their plate because it's like their least favorite food and anything else looks and sounds more delicious? That's kind of how I am with
my little nephew. He's a picky eater. My little nephew,
exactly.
Very picky eater.
Exactly. Like I feel like there's a plate of liver on the New York Knicks table, and I do not want liver. And that's Thibodeau, just a nasty piece of meat that no one really wants, in their living room on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday night. And so I just see the possibility of anything but Tibbs, and it's like, yeah. Anything but Tibbs. We're going to bring someone else? Yeah, I don't care who it is. Like, it doesn't matter to me. It could be a football coach. It could be, a guy that coaches peewee soccer. I don't really care. I just don't want it to be Tibbs. But that's how I feel, Do I know that he would be good here? No. Like, are there other people that I really, really want? Yes. But if it's Tibbs or this guy, then I'd rather take Tibbs. Yo, straight cracking on Moutier. Don't hate on Moutier.
You know, DSJ, you know from that response he has an Emmanuel Moutier jersey in the closet. From that, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I do have a Courtney Lee jersey, and I use that as my play basketball jersey. I take that one out to the streets because I don't care if it gets dirty or torn or ripped.
My man said Courtney Lee.
Jersey. I do got a Courtney Lee jersey. We all got skeletons in the closet.
Oh, God. Shout out to my man EY in the chat. Eric Wallace, what it do. And great point, Shine. What have these other coaches accomplished? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. To Shine's point, that's 100% true. What has Nate McMillan done, especially over the past 3 seasons with the Atlanta Hawks, that pops out to you as the answer to this team? Absolutely nothing. As much as some Knicks fans can despise Tom Thibodeau, right? Because there's some fans that despise Tom Thibodeau, Phil. As much as many fans do, right? We can admit, right? And if you can't admit this, you need to get drug tested. But what Tom Thibodeau has done in the 3 seasons he's been the head coach for the New York Knicks, and what Nate McMillan has done since being the head coach for the Atlanta Hawks, it doesn't come close. It doesn't come close. Nate McMillan, he has the fact that he was able to eliminate the Knicks in the first round a couple of 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons ago, but that's because we didn't have a point guard. Now we got Jalen Brunson, and the thing is different. The tides has shifted. Everything is different, right? So Tom Thibodeau gets a little bit of credit from me, right? I don't want to give him too much because DSJ will go crazy in the chat if I do, right? But we got another one to bring up, another topic to bring up. And trust me, guys, the open panel will be happening today, right? So we'll just wait on for the open panel. We're going to go through two more topics, and we'll bring up the open panel. But this one right here, my guy, Josh Hart wants a long-term marriage with the Knicks. He said it's a perfect situation. That was music to my ears, broski, when I heard that during that press conference he was having with some of the New York Knicks media. Josh Hart, make it happen, right? As Josh Hart said in that press conference, this has been his 4th team, 6 different head coach. He just wants a place where he could just call home, and he could just be comfortable knowing that it's a long-term option. New York City is, what's a better place in New York City to call your long-term home or your long-term option than what we have over here at the Garden? So Josh Hart, my man, the New York Knicks, you got to do whatever you got to do. Make that situation happen. Sign my man this offseason and let this man have a house on come to Dykeman. He said he's looking at Upper Manhattan. Yo, Josh Hart, you can come to Dykeman. There's some nice properties out here in Dykeman right next to me and some good food down the block. I could show you all the good spots. But Josh Hart, please come back to the Knicks. Oh, my man Phil frozen. He frozen. Yo. There he is.
Yo, oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, so when it comes to Josh Hart, I've kind of felt like this was going to be the case. Like I wasn't kind of sweating it. Like I truly believe this was set in the bag before we even called Portland. But you know what it's like for a lot of fans, because you were seeing people kind of like divided on what we thought was going to happen. It's kind of like that old game when you were like in middle school, you had that little paper game and you were like, choose a number. And you're like 1, and then, or like 5. And then you're like, choose a color, green. And then you like do that whole thing. Like everyone was just waiting for that reveal to see what it said. Or like, the, do you like me? Check yes, no, or maybe, and everyone's just waiting for that paper to come back. Like circle, circle, circle.
That paper that he's talking about, that was Twitter before Twitter was Twitter, right? That's how we got messages back and forth to our friends in school. We would sign the little papers and we would send it around like it was contraband in jail. Because if the teacher caught that, oh my God, you could just imagine what's going to happen. So Jiggaman, put the link into the chat for the open panel. If you guys want to come onto the open panel, you're more than welcome to come onto the open panel. My man Phil will be joining back. It's just his internet's a little bit messed up at the moment. But the open panel is here. This is Open Panel Friday. We got a special topic for the open panel for everybody to talk about. But rules, just rules and regulations. If you're going to come onto the open panel, just know that we have to respect and we have to abide by the terms and services of YouTube. And then on top of that, at the same time, if somebody is giving a take, right? If somebody's giving their take, allow them to finish before you jump in, right? Because the same courtesy will be granted towards you. As long as you're finishing your take, when you're giving your take, we'll give the same courtesy. We'll let you finish before you try to jump in. And now my man Phil's back. Phil, you on fire this morning, bro. James Dolan, he hitting that cancel button every 5 seconds.
Seriously, I have no clue what the heck's going on. It shows like full signal and then just kicks me off.
I got you,
But
blood. I'm
anyway,
working on that this weekend.
but yeah, I truly believe that like we've kind of waited, and he has circled yes. He circled that this is where he wants to be. If you follow him on social media, he's constantly looking for places to go out on dates with his girl in the city. He's talking about looking for a place in Westchester this summer. Like homeboy's unpacked his bags. Like homeboy is. Look, he even said in that post conference that he's, if anyone knows like a realtor or whatever, like homeboy's ready to move in.
Yo, shout out to Sunil and Blood of the Panther. Both of them. I'm dying just watching the chat, going back and forth. But yeah, bro. Like he said in that press conference, he's looking for places up in Manhattan. Possibly someplace in Westchester during the off season. But Josh Hart, man. Come back, bro. It's gonna be up to the New York Knicks what they're gonna give Josh Hart this offseason. But I'm feeling very confident at saying 90% that he's back with our team next year. 95%. This is a marriage that's perfect when it comes to Josh Hart and this franchise. This is a perfect marriage. This is a guy that he's not going to demand a big contract. He's not going to demand 18, 20 million over the next 5 years. No, this is the type of signing that you make if you're trying to put together a championship team. Josh Hart is one of those players that you could plug into a contending team to be that piece that you need coming off the bench to go alongside your superstars. So if we're trying to build a foundation to show superstars that the New York Knicks, we are actually consistent, we're actually a smart franchise, Josh Hart is a perfect block to put there on top of what we have right now. We're laying the foundation. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, that's the foundation, and we need to lay everything else on top of it, bro.
Yeah, I agree. So I think he's a perfect piece. Like it gives us the flexibility that if we still want to make a move, we can. But I'm looking forward to what he's gonna do in this rest of the season. Like what is he gonna do? We've seen a few games. We've been impressed in those few games. I want to see him help us get to the second round of the playoffs. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, he can have a great beginning, few games. We can have all this excitement. What happens in these next 20 something games is going to dictate a lot for everything. It's going to dictate a lot for what we do, because if we get into the first round, make a early first round exit, like what does that really mean about us? Like what does that say about our future? Do we still just think we need one piece or two? I think the playoffs is gonna really say a lot for us. So I'm hoping that our team steps up. Like we said, I want to see RJ step up. I want to see Randall consistently be that piece that he's been over these last few weeks. And I want to see Brunson and Hart, come out and continue to be, stepbrothers on the court and just like make us enjoy every single thing. Even the post-game interviews have me cracking up. I want to see that. I want to see the lightheartedness, but I also want to see that dog fight when they're on the court. Like leave the jokes for after. When you're on the court, let's see, you play with, your full intensity. So we'll see what happens in this playoffs, but I really want us to at least get to the second round. I want us to prove that we've taken that step up.
Yeah, and before I bring up the last little slide that we have over here, this is that perfect segue, Phil. That's why you and we right here, brother. Because I wanted to ask you what needs to happen, right, down the stretch for this season to be a success in your eyes. What needs to happen down the stretch, whether it's the playoffs, whatever? What do you see as being, okay, we can mark this as a successful season for the New York Knicks if X, Y, and the third fill in the blank happens? Go ahead, Phil. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so the first thing that I think is we got to make it to the second round. Like we have to show that this team is better than what people call like the bubble team, like the unreal Knick team. We need to show that we are better than that. I think we need to show that the moves that were made in the offseason and the moves that were made at the trade deadline have a return on their investment, so that we can justify those pieces coming back in the offseason. Second, it's critical for RJ to show up in the second half of the season.
Yes.
Like he was in trade talks last summer. Like the way to get out of trade talks this summer is to actually show up. Like actually show up where we need you most in the end of the season and the postseason. And then third, I think it's critical for Randall to play at all-star level throughout the playoffs. The last thing that we want is to be so high on the improvements of Randall and then him completely fold in the playoffs like he did last time, because then everyone's going to erase the whole season because of what happened in the postseason. And that's important. Like we talk about, like good players show that they're good players or great players throughout the season. You're not really a star until you show that you can actually execute in a playoff season, in playoff contention. So I want to see Julius Randle continue to play the way that he's played through the postseason, and him show that, hey, this isn't a fluke. What you guys saw in the bubble was a fluke. Me collapsing is the fluke. I'm the truth. I'm worth having here, because he's done that in the season, but the season goes through the playoffs. If we're in the playoffs, we can't just hold on to what we saw during regular season and say that was enough. So those are the three things for me personally. What about you?
You hit him right on the head, and I don't want to sound like this is an echo chamber, but when it comes down to the stretch run for me, what makes this season a success is just like you said, we gotta get past that first round. Got to get past that first round. That's a crucial point right there. Getting past the first round, surprising somebody. Now, where is it going to be? Is it going to be, all right, we win the play-in tournament and then we face the Bucks or someone in the first round? I'm not too sure, right? The play-in tournament, that's something we have to avoid, right? Because if we have to face one of the top teams in our first round of the playoffs after the play-in tournament, whether that be Boston, whether that be Milwaukee, I'm not too confident, that, okay, cool. We could push it to 7 games, but could we win? I'm not sure. Right now, the ideal matchup for me is if we get up into that 5th seed, right, and we could face off against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs. That's the ideal matchup for me. But what's going to label this season a success is A, we get past that first round. B, we avoid the play-in tournament. We move up seedings. Yes, we finish at the 5th seed and not the 4th seed like we did a couple of seasons ago. But at the same time, it's still better than the play-in tournament, right? And then 3, it's more of an individual player and not the team. And we've said it already. We've talked about it already. RJ Barrett, right? In order for this season to be a success down the stretch run and in the playoffs, RJ Barrett has to step up his play offensively and defensively. RJ Barrett, we need you to stop going on tour, right? We need to stop seeing the RJ Barrett tour dates when it comes to these shooting numbers. We don't need you to be 9 for 22 from the field because you're going to perform September 22nd. We don't need that, right? If you get us 20 points on a efficient 9 of 14 from the field, 8 of 15 from the field, 9 of 16 from the field, we'll take that. We don't want to see the RJ Barrett getting 20 points, but he's in 9 for 19 or 9 for 22 from the field. That's not good basketball. That's not good team basketball. And RJ Barrett, you can't have more shot attempts than Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, but you're scoring less points than them. That makes no sense whatsoever. If our 2 top guys is Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, you cannot be taking more shots than them 2, but scoring less than them, right? And then another key thing is our turnovers. Limiting our turnovers, allowing teams to get on the fast break, push the momentum. Tibbs, he has he's a defensive coach, right? We need to control the ball on the defensive side of things and on the offensive side of things, right? Do not let the opponent or do not let the opposing team set the tone for the game. The New York Knicks, you need to control the tone of the game with your defense. And you can control that from the beginning, from the first minute of the game to the last minute of the games. The New York Knicks, when when we do not allow opponents to score over 110 points in a game, our record is 24-1 when that happens. I'm going to say that again. When we hold our opponent to less than 110 points per game, our record is 24-1. That goes to show you when we are cranked up and we are locked in defensively, our team controls the pace of the game. Our team controls it from the beginning tip-off to the last second of the game. And that's what we need to do going down the stretch run and in the playoffs if we want to label this season as a success.
Yeah. And so I want to bring up, before we go into the open panel on the next next slide, there was something up here. I think Shaw put it up. He was talking about how, Julius won't, crumble because he's got, other players now. And I agree. I think our roster is definitely structured a lot better. But also to, Smoke and Nick and a few others were saying,
SK,
Julius
what it do?
What up, SK? Talking about how he was, triple teamed at times and stuff. Yes, I understand that, but that's playoff basketball. Like, you're going to see that stars are going to get triple teamed. They're going to get played heavily. My whole thing about the bubble playoff was not, even turnovers on triple teams or whatever. I just don't want us to give excuses. Like, he shot 29%, like in the playoffs entirely. Like, his field goal percentage was 29% in that 5-game stretch. And so I don't want to like give excuses. I think he is a better player this year than he was then. I think he also has, better resources around him. But even if he's got better resources around him, I don't want to see 29% shooting from anybody on our team, whether it's Randall, Brunson, Hart, Julius, anybody. So it's not an attack on Julius. It's just facts of the stats of what happened during that playoff season. And that's what I don't want to see in this one. And I know that like he will do a lot better having the right pieces around him. But it's also like the pressure, is the pressure going to get to him? I don't think it will this season, but that's what I'm saying. For this to be a successful season, I need to see Julius Randle continue to be that player that he was through the season in the postseason, because RJ Barrett is I still think he's a good player, but I don't want to see the RJ Barrett that goes on tour, like Hector said, like, so this is what I think will be successful in the end. And so I want to see that from Julius Randle. That's it. It's not a hate on Julius Randle. Like I told y'all, I support what Julius is doing right now. It's not hate, to be honest about what we've seen in the past and hope for better in the future. That's just Nick fandom, so.
No, 100%. I want to give a quick shout out to the chat real quick. Shout out my man. We surveyed 100 people, aka we surveyed 2,000 is in the building. What it do? Kenny Payne's in the building. My man Kenny Payne always with the hot takes. And as well, everybody that's already been here, Blood of the Panther, TC Steele, Sunil, my man DSJ. And bro, I want to ask you this question, because maybe you can help me try to navigate this conversation. But
okay,
when it comes to the New York Knicks, I'm not sure if the players that we still have on the team today from when we was in the postseason last time, right? A couple seasons ago, 4th seed and all that. The players that are left over, Mitchell Robinson, but he was injured. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Derrick Rose. Those are the only 4 players, and Emmanuel Quickly as well. 5 players that are left over from that playoff run. Yeah. When that happened, when we were the 4th seed in that first game, I think that team got scared of the energy that was in Madison Square Garden. Because you have to remember, that first playoff game was the first game because of COVID, because of the quarantine, because of all that rules and stuff. That was the first game that they had full capacity at Madison Square Garden. And that was the first game that entire season that Madison Square Garden was sold out and was filled with fans. I honestly feel that team as a whole buckled under the pressure. They were nervous and they were scared from what they were feeling from the fans, not in a negative way, just because, oh my God, this entire season, we didn't have this. We are in the biggest series and games of the season. How do we respond? Right?
Yeah.
So whatever playoff scenario happens this time around, wherever we get seated, however it is, whatever, those 5 players that I named need to respond better than what they did before. You know, they need to show that, you know what, we were scared back then, but we're here to respond and come back again. SK, we've gone over RJ Barrett and what we need from RJ Barrett going into the postseason and stuff like that. That's why I always say, and it's not geared toward my man SK, but if we're having a conversation and pointing out something about one player, right, there's no need for what about isms. Well, what about this player? We already critiqued and talked about RJ Barrett. We talk about what we want to see from Julius Randle going forward, is what I'm saying. RJ Barrett was horrible in that series. RJ Barrett has been horrible this entire season. When you look at our big 3, RJ Barrett is the weakest link. RJ Barrett has to step up. How much more do you want me to bash RJ Barrett before I can have a conversation about Julius Randle is what I want to know. That's all I want to know. How much more do I need to bash RJ Barrett before I can critique Julius Randle or say I want to see this from Julius Randle? Please let me know. Please let me know. But I appreciate you, SK. You know I love you. And for everybody in the chat that isn't subscribed to the new channel, the link is right there. New channel alert. We're moving all of the content. Knicks Morning Brew, Yankees Morning Brew, and Eddie and Smitty show over there to the Morning Brew Sports. We're working on other spin-off scenarios as well and other spin-off shows. But trust me, you're going to want to follow and you're going to want to tune in to everybody that's going to be a part of it. My man SK is going to help us down the line as well. That's my man SK Smoking Nick. If you aren't subscribed to my man the Smoking Nick, what are you doing with your life? Make sure you subscribe to my man SK, because I know he's going to be going live later on tonight after the Knicks have their first game. So before I bring on the next guest, because we got somebody backstage, and I apologize that he's been there for a few minutes. I'm gonna bring in my man Jay Boog, because Jay Boogie's in the building. How you doing? And before Jay Boogie even introduces himself, I gotta tell everybody right now, if you aren't subscribed to Jay Boogie and his music channel, please follow Unk, because he got some flames coming out. Right, this Monday he sent me a link. Send me one of his songs. This Monday we'll be playing it on the channel. So make sure you guys tune in for this Monday coming up, because we'll be playing that new Jay Boogie track. But Jay Boog, good morning, Unk.
Yo, good morning, gentlemen. How are you, my brothers? Shout out to the chat. Blessings, health, and happiness. We back. Guess what? The trade deadline is over. The All-Star game is over. Your 9-day rest period, that's all over. Back to business. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, back to business. And we're going down to DC. No, we ain't going down there, you know what I'm saying, to do no go-go and none of that. We going down there to knock these gentlemen's heads off. That's what it is. You see, what's the name lost last night? I need to make up that mark. Cleveland lost last night. I'm trying to climb up. So anytime somebody lose, I need to take advantage and win. Just because they lose and we lose, that doesn't get me nowhere. I don't want to be even across the board with these guys, you know what I'm saying? Take advantage of every point, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to go, man. I know the team is ready. Shout out to the team, man. Great first half of the season, but that don't mean nothing, you know what I'm saying? That don't mean nothing if you can't finish, you know what I'm saying, what you started. It's not about how you start. It's not about the beginning. It's not about the middle of the book where you take a break and go get something to eat, come back and finish read. It's about how you finish. How you going to finish the rest of these 22s, you know what I'm saying, that we got. I ain't talking about rims. I ain't talking about Latrell spinners when I say 22. I'm talking about 22 games is left, man. I need to make sure we at least 600 the rest of the way. That's above 500, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear games to win just to stay above 500. I want to move up the chats, move up the charts, move up the stats, move up into the Eastern Conference, you know what I'm saying? Keep fighting, keep swinging and going for your goal. Squad, you look beautiful. You're doing a great job on the floor for us all year, you know what I'm saying? We're going to always have something to talk and say and critique about the New York Knicks, whether it's a good season or a bad season. We're going to always be here. But I just want to say thank you for the season that you've given us all so far, all the way up to the halftime highlights, man. Beautiful to see Julius with his family. The only dude on the sideline with his family, a boy. I'm like, dude, where's all y'all families and stuff? You know what I'm saying? Y'all just come to see the same dudes you play against. This man is celebrating with his family. And that right there made me feel good, because when Julius was feeling in family mode, that's when he puts on, you know what I'm saying? But I'm ready to go, man. Shout out to everybody, you know, that's rocking, you know what I'm saying? Hit that like button, support. You hear that man breaking down the channels, you know what I'm saying? Keep following, keep going with them, keep rocking with them. Where they go, you go, you know what I'm saying? When you go, they gonna go. We all fans, we all is one, man. We all one on this whole network under the umbrella, man. You gotta love what the Knicks is doing. I appreciate it, man. How y'all gentlemen doing, man? My man, what's good, man? I know you on pinstripe mode. I know you back to Yankees. I know everything is going on, you know what I'm saying? I know you rocking, man.
Oh yeah, Jay Boogie. But you know, I love hearing you in the morning, Jay Boogie. And guys, I put the link to Jay Boogie's channel right there and in the chat right there. So if you can, please subscribe to my man Jay Boogie. His videos got thousands of views on them, but we got to get the subscribers up as well. So go subscribe to my man Jay Boogie. Make sure you follow Unc. But Jay Boog, I'm super excited. Like you said, the Knicks being off for this past week and some change, it kind of feels like an entire off season. You feel me? Like I was saying earlier, I'm feeling like Pookie from New Jack City. I need my Knicks fix. Don't be cutting me off when I'm talking to Jay Boogie, bro.
I cut you off real quick. You know, backstage or not, I gotta stop real quick when Boog is here. What's up, Jay Boog?
What's up?
I gotta tell you, bro. I heard the track. We were gonna play it today, and I was like, "Yo, Heck." And him and I were like, we got to put a little reel together. You know, we don't want to just play the track. Like, so we're going to put a little graphic together. We're going to have it ready for Monday. Yo, Jay Boog, another banger, bro. I just had to say another banger. Yo, check it ready because it's another banger.
I appreciate that,
and one thing I'll say, if it's anything like the other tracks, it's going to be one of those things that, like, in or out of season, you're going to be rocking it. Because, like, straight up, sometimes I feel like just putting on a sweater and going into my office and listening to that Christmas song and make believe it's still Christmas. Like, I want to call people over, play the track, and just start handing out gifts, because I feel like Santa in the orange and blue every time I hear that track. So it's Christmas all year round for me right now with that Jay Boog Christmas.
Jay Boog, he's being very modest, bro. He FaceTimed me the other day when he was playing it. He had chestnuts roasted on the open fire. He has daffodils and doves all through the house.
I hang mistletoe over myself, like, because I just like it's one of those things like Twitter. You got to download the Jay Boogie track if you want to be shaking some. You fill in the blank. Yeah, you know, so I'll be shaking to Jay Boogie tracks.
Yeah,
hey, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't have some tracks really knocking on their doors. I don't have some feedbacks, you know, from these people about, you know what I'm saying, the music that I'm doing and everything. But this right here is really like the first official track that's like really like Wes has this track. He took it. Wes has that song. So, you know, I don't know what's going from there, you know what I'm saying? But all I know is, you know what I'm saying, I just, you know, when I'm in a good space, in a good mode, good pen, good paper, you know what I'm saying? And I just go in my little mode, and, you know, and I think about what needs to come out. So, you know, I got something else in the network. The next thing I'm doing is I'm probably gonna go lay that down today. It's called 1973. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying homage to the championship squad, but that's right there. That song is gonna be pretty much for the people that's been like, you know, like 30 and 40 years and to the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do something for them where it's, you know, even though us younger ones, we can still rock and relate to it. But this, I wanted to do something for their era, you know what I'm saying? Talk about them, you know what I'm saying? Because that team did a great accomplishment. Nobody thought we was going to beat them people in 5 games. We 4-1 them guys, man. And Wilt was crushing stuff, you know what I'm saying? We got dudes coming out, limping out the tunnel and everything, man. You know, we had great things going on with that squad, you know. And also my high school coach, Ron DeClario, was the ball boy for that team. He was the ball boy on that roster, Mr. Ron DeClario from Benjamin Cardozo. Yo, shout out to all the Cardozo people too, man, especially my man 2 J's, you know what I'm saying? 2 bottom hooks, you know what I'm saying? Man, JJ, man, 2 bottom hooks, you know what I'm saying? That's what I call them, man. But yeah, man, I'm feeling good, man. I hope everybody else is feeling good. Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Yes.
Treat yourself, man. Don't leave yourself out of life, man. You know, you work so hard to do and do everything to be successful in whatever field, whatever thing you're doing in life. But don't forget to treat yourself, because if you don't treat yourself, you're not going to really appreciate all the great things that you're doing in life. You know what I'm saying? So celebrate yourself, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of celebrational day. You don't need a birthday. You don't need a New Year. You don't need a Christmas, a Valentine's, you know what I'm saying? An anniversary, a birthday. You don't need none of that, you know what I'm saying, to celebrate yourself every day when you wake up. It's a holiday for yourself. So go ahead, enjoy yourselves a lot more in life, man. Everybody in the chat, please, man. You only got one. You only got one. And when, you know what I'm saying, you want somebody to be able to talk beautiful about you, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, all y'all deserve flowers now. You know, flowers right now. Don't wait too late to give somebody a flower. Give somebody you love and appreciate a flower before this weekend is out. You know what I'm saying? You don't need Valentine's to give somebody a flower. You know what I'm saying? You give them a flower because you want that person to continue on blossoming what they're doing in life. You know what I'm saying? And once they blossom, you know what I'm saying, that tree start to get bigger. And then them, you know what I'm saying, the branches and them limbs and them leaves, you know what I'm saying, they added on to it, man. Yeah, but hey, man, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, 100%. Bug, you know, 100% love you. I want to throw this to you real quick, but before I do that, I put the link for SK's channel in the chat as well. So if you guys can, please sub to my man SK. Go support the Smoking Nick over there. And Bug, I want to bring this up real quick. I see SK's backstage, but he got his camera. SK, let me just give me a thumbs up backstage, and I'll bring you up to let me know that you're good to come on. But we got this little.
Post the link? Did we post a link for?
Yeah, he's backstage. He's backstage. All right, cool. He's right here. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna bring him in. I just wanted to make sure that he was before I brought him up. SK was good, my guy.
You already know. Salute to the family.
Salute.
What up,
salute,
SK?
salute.
How y'all doing, man?
Yo,
Chilling,
you looking
baby,
like
chilling,
Parliament Funkadelic. You in the mothership?
He definitely in the mothership. He definitely in the mothership.
I'm at the job site right now, putting in my hard 8. Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all know the vibes, but I will be lit tonight with that real time energy, the energy I expect and deserve from the kid. You heard?
Yeah. Make sure you. I put his link into his channel in the chat. Make sure you sub.
I appreciate y'all for that too. I wanted not to cut you. I appreciate that for the genuine love. J Boogie, you already know what time it is. Y'all already feel I be getting on, but you already know what time it is, man. It's all love, bro.
No, it's all love.
It's all
SK, why you stole my hat for, SK? Why we got the same hat for? We literally have the. Why
If you notice, I don't change or wash this hat, man. That's just how it is, man. Grimy like that.
It got sent out when you both
the
signed up for the Julius Randle fan club.
It's
when you guys signed up for the fan club, the Knicks sent it out to both of y'all.
Yeah, you know, SK's the president of the Julius Randle fan club, and I'm just there to be his secretary or his treasury in arms, just to make sure everything is smooth.
Y'all put that on me. All I did was play lawyer. I never designated myself nobody a fan club, nothing, right? I just defended against the BS that people was talking. That's all I did, bro.
No, I know, bro.
And I got designated the president. People have spoken. I'll be that, right? But all I'm saying is y'all designated for me to that. I never said that. I just defended against the BS. That's all I did.
No, 100% SK. You know it's all love. But I got this little panel that I was saving up, but now that we got SK and J Boog here. So the rumors is Carmelo Anthony to the Phoenix Suns. SK still here. He just got his audio. He turned his camera off just so people wondering. But Carmelo Anthony to the Phoenix Suns, the rumors. J Boogie, I throw it to you. What do you think about this? And then throw it over to SK.
I love it. I spoke about it, I think last week somewhere. I spoke about it then. I love it. You know, that's CP3 keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? That's CP3 going to get his man. Don't forget, all 4 of them was the banana boat. All 4 of them was the 4 horsemen. You know what I'm saying? Between LeBron, you know, Wade, CP, and Melo. You know what I'm saying? Don't be like LeBron did, you know what I'm saying, and go get Dudley and who didn't deserve that championship. That was LeBron's team. You were supposed to go get your man and bring him over here.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And anybody during that point in time that could have took Melo up under the wing during that season, it was you, LeBron James, you know what I'm saying? And nobody would have had a say-so at all about the situation. But for him to go to Phoenix, man, I think that's beautiful. That's great, you know what I'm saying, on CP3. That's great on the rest of the squad, the organization, reaching out and following and being okay with the guys on the floor saying, yo, let's go get Melo. You know, I love to see Melo have a fighting chance to really, really swing for him a ring. He deserves it. He's a top 75, you know, one of the greatest players. He did great every night for the New York Knicks. And when bad nights came, he never shied away. He never, you know what I'm saying, not gave an interview. He never ducked the media. He never did anything but be Carmelo, you know what I'm saying? Because that man is a pure scorer, one of the top pure scorers that ever played this game. People try to throw him up under the bus because of his style of his play. But up under that last pressure minute, 5 minutes, that man always showed up, man. So, yes, man, I wish I could co-sign it. You know, Melo deserves to be on that Phoenix team and swinging for a championship.
100%. SK, what's your thoughts on the Melo rumors to Phoenix?
If it's true, congratulations to Carmelo. We appreciate everything you've done for us. You feel me? Or at least I do, right? And then secondly, and Jay Boogie sound like he did as well. So shout out to him. How they gonna blackball my dude for 3/4 of the season and then put a team together and just grab my man like that? I'm definitely happy for him because he's going to a contender, but he should have been playing. He better than half of these dudes in the league. What is we talking about?
No,
but it's the truth. Like, you go down some of these dudes' benches and you're gonna see that Carmelo, he giving you 15 and what? He can rebound, so 15 and 6, maybe 7 rebounds in 20 minutes. Man, that's contributing if you ask me, right? So
yeah.
Shout out to Carmelo Anthony. I hope the rumors are true and he does get an opportunity to win a ring in the league, man. And stop playing with his name, man. That's Melo, man.
SK, you was out there on the West Coast, so maybe you could speak more to this than I could, right? But last year, when he was on the Lakers, for a stretch of games, when Anthony Davis was out or when LeBron James was out, Carmelo Anthony was that third best player, third best option on that team. Like, there was stretches for the season last year that probably 2 weeks that he was averaging over 25 points per game. Hell, he was named Western Conference Player of the Week one time last year during last year's season. So arguably, you could make the argument that he was that third best player on the team for the Lakers last year.
The problem, Heck, is that they keep going with the narrative that he's a ball stopper, right? And these are media creative narratives that people like to run with. And I've heard people say it like, what does he bring to your team? Younger dudes need to these younger dudes ain't doing nothing. If you ain't developing your game in the offseason, it ain't showing in the league, then what are we talking about? Like,
facts.
You going see, my whole thing from day one is I'm production over potential, right? Unless your potential is producing. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Say that again, dude.
Yeah, say that again, bro. Because
so people can catch on to that, man, right there.
Yeah, and put the camera back so people can actually see when you say that. Say what you just said, bro.
Jay Boogie, I've been saying this. This ain't even new, right? I've been saying this 2 years ago. I'm about production over potential, unless that potential is producing, right? Yeah. It's a riddle. Keep up. You know what I mean?
Yo, I can't stand you, bro. Phil, I'm gonna throw it over to you, Phil. What's your take on this, Brody?
Yeah, bro. Like, you know, as a fan of Melo, obviously, you know, I would like to see him back in the orange and blue, you know, because I'm a fan of Melo, you know, but I also don't feel like in his career he's ever been really set up for success on the teams that he's gone to. You know, and I want to see him win. You know, I do. I feel like the best opportunity for him to do that is going to be with the Phoenix Suns. So with CP3 championing him and with Kevin Durant championing him, you got two players, one that's a vet that gets a lot of say on what management wants to do, And then you got a star like currently who obviously has shown that whatever he says goes, like where he wants to go, he goes, what he wants to do, will do. So you got a vet and a current star who both are, it seems like they're championing for Melo. So I would be surprised if he didn't go there. And if he does, then I want to see him succeed there. I want to see him get a chip. A lot of people give him, a lot of flack, but even in his like whatever season it was last year of his career, he was still averaging 44% field goal shooting, and he was still getting like 13 to 14 points a game, so he's shown, like SK said, he is productive. And it's not just productive in that he can put up buckets, but he was efficient in the time that he was out there on the court. He got thrown into a crap storm scenario with the Lakers that was just an epic fail from the start. And I think that this would be a redeeming destination for him. And yes, like SK said, he could be on any team for the season. But unfortunately, the way the league has gone now, like that's as good as him don't really get the respect that they deserve. But I would like to see him succeed, get a chip out there, and then come back and retire with us. Like, come back and retire with us. Go get your ring, and then let it shine all up in Times Square. Let it glisten as you walk through the Times Square lights, and come home and retire with us. But it would be great to see Melo back. I would be scared to compete with that team. With their starters as is, but also with Melo off the bench. Like, I don't know many teams that are going to be able to go head to head with that kind of team night in and night out in the playoffs. So
yeah, especially with that firepower. And I'll throw this over to Jay Boogie to get Jay Boogie's take on it. But Boogs, I want to ask you, because SK and both Phil, they bring up a great point about 3/4 of the season Carmelo Anthony wasn't even on an NBA roster. I want to ask you, Boogie, as somebody who's been around the team, as a guy who's in New York as well, because we could all relate to Carmelo Anthony because he has that New York City swag. Yeah, he was born in Red Hook, lived and grew up in Baltimore, but he still has that New York City swag. Do you think he purposely didn't choose a team like Golden State to sign with because he didn't want people saying, oh, he was just a bandwagon that jumped on the Golden State bandwagon, right? So I think picking a team like the Phoenix Suns that has his friend Chris Paul, yeah, they got Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant is who he is, but that's a team full of people that everyone's saying CP3 has to step up and win a championship in order to go down as one of the greatest point guards of all time. People say Kevin Durant has to win a championship outside of Golden State to prove that his championship was either worthy. So do you think this is the perfect squad when it comes to redemption story for Carmelo Anthony to join when it comes to winning his championship and having it be a legitimate championship, not just some veteran minimum signing with a team that's already a contender championship? If you understand what I'm saying, Books.
Bro, be honest with you, if Melo went to Golden State, I wouldn't care about that neither. Big difference between, Melo going to Golden State or what Kevin Durant did, you know what I'm saying? Or what Kevin Durant has always been doing, chasing to go play with somebody, you know what I'm saying? When I would like to see Kevin Durant had done it himself, for him to, becoming that free agent during that time, Kevin was labeled as the best player it is in the league. So you could have picked and choose anybody you wanted during that free agency to come with you to go play wherever you wanted to go play, instead of you going following somebody else again. But, with Melo, if he went to Golden State, from the situation that he's been in, you know what I'm saying, ain't been playing, and he's not leaving a squad. It's not like he's leaving somebody. I'd have been okay with him doing that, you know what I mean? Because I know he'd have went there and performed the best way he could, you know what I mean? So, as far as him going with Phoenix, man, that's even better for Melo because you get a chance to do it with somebody that's your man, and neither one of y'all have a ring. We know that a ring would, solidify y'all completely, which, I know they'll solidify anyway, but it's a separation when it comes to that ring talk with players and rings. It's a separation. It's a certain club you can get into and a certain club you can't get into without that ring. You know what I mean? You can always get in the Hall of Fame, but when you want to go to that ring party, like where the big boys talk that trash, You can't go in there. Charles Barkley, you can't. Why you think when they was in the Olympic team and Charles Barkley was doing all that talking on, Magic told him, yo, shut the F up. Ain't but 3 people on this bus that got a ring. That's me, Larry, and Mike. You know what I'm saying? But he left out Scotty, but those was his exact words, you know what I'm saying? So you want to be able to go to that party and go to that club, you know, and dance with your ring on that night, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I want to see Melo with his opportunity in Phoenix. I think he deserves it. Melo fans deserve to see it. You know what I'm saying? It'd be great for him to be in New York, but New York, you know, playing in New York right now, you know, that doesn't help Melo become what he deserved to be, where he deserves to be, far as, you know, in the Rushmores and all that there. You know what I'm saying? And then him and Kevin, they rock together on the Olympic teams. You know. Remember, Melo said, you know, and a lot of people think Melo's not a game player. Melo said, yo, I'm cool coming off the bench, and Kevin and them, they go ahead and start. Melo came off the bench that year for that Olympic team, you know what I'm saying? Killing. So Melo was okay, but, you know, Melo ain't been playing right now, but that might have been great for him and his family. You see him a lot with him and his little man, working out with his little man, going to him back, working out in the gyms with him, going to get just games and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need that type thing. So I think Melo really was like waiting till this time of the year to figure out, you know, let me get on some phone calls and see how I'm looking right now. And teams know what they need and what they want. And I'm glad Phoenix is picking him, because with him and that boy Terrence Ross and whatever else they got coming off that bench is going to be some firepower. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I'm happy for Melo, man. Please, man, make that work, Phoenix.
Yeah, 100% happy for Carmelo Anthony. Like you said, you know, whichever way he gets a ring, he gets a ring. But I wanted to be in a situation where people can't blame him as just a ring chaser, right? Or label him as a ring chaser. So the situation in Phoenix, to me, is the perfect situation. And like you said, Jay Boogie, he played three. I mean, he didn't play for the first 3 quarters of the season, but that probably benefited him, especially at this age, because now he'll have more energy and have more stamina going down the stretch run for the playoffs, instead of asking him to be a big contributor for a full season of 82 games, right? So just having him for the stretch run of 22 games for the rest of the season, and then that playoff run, I think that's perfect scenario. But guys, we got a game tonight. Let's just go around. Let's just do some predictions real quick. I'm gonna start off with you, Phil. What's your predictions for tonight, and then throw it over to SK, my guy?
Yeah, you know,
ask that question one more time. You cut out a little bit. Sorry.
No, it's cool, bro. Not my fault. It's just predictions for tonight's game. So I'm gonna throw it over to Phil, get his predictions for tonight, and then throw it over you to SK.
All right.
Me personally, I feel like this is one of those games where we got to come back. This is a statement game for us. You know, the last time we played Washington, it was not a really good look for us. And that was before we had Josh Hart. That's before we went on that pre-All-Star break run where we looked good. We looked like our chemistry was there. We need to show that time off did not change that we are still going to be that elite team that you saw before the All-Star break. And so, you know, my hope and my goal is that, you know, we end the season with at least 45 wins. And I think this is one of the ones that's going to set the tone for that. Like, we have to go in there. We got to take that W. We got to show teams that, like, aren't in playoff contention right now that they're not going to make their push for playoff contention with us. You know, that we are not those guys. We are not those guys to try to help you get to playoff contention. Like, you are stepping stones for us to get us to where we want to be in the standings, not the other way around. So I think it's a clutch game for us. I want to see Josh Hart, same effort. I want to see Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson working well with each other. And I want to see RJ have a bounce back game. You know, he's apparently had some sit down time with some of the management to kind of talk about his role, what he's got to do. I want to see that. I want to see what happens, you know? So let's see, you know, that's my prediction, is that we take the W.
God. Copy. SK, same question going your way when it comes to tonight's game. What's your predictions besides the RJ bashing?
I'm not bashing RJ. I love RJ to death. So shout out to him, right? But I gotta treat him like I would treat my little brother or my big brother, man. We coming for you, straight up. But I would agree that we need to continue the momentum because we got a long break when our momentum was rising and getting hot. It was building. I wouldn't say it was at its highest peak, right? But you know, when you getting in shape, you know, there's peak shape, right? So we was just getting to that peak shape. So I'm glad that we got a little momentum to calm it down so we didn't reach our peak too early, right? So these last 20 games, I want to see us get into mint condition, you know what I mean? Especially just beat the teams that you need to beat, stay competitive against the teams that's stronger, you feel me? Show me something good there. And I'm gonna stay in your corner. I got faith for this game tonight, man. Washington ain't got nothing for it. If it's competitive, I'll be surprised. But I get it. It was a layoff. They didn't play basketball for 9 days, so it might be some little rust there in one of the quarters. You know what I mean? I suspect. Hopefully, it's not the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not the fourth quarter. But I suspect that we should win this game tonight. Probably like, let's say 120 to like 113.
Copy. Solid. J Boog, what's your takes for tonight when it comes to the prediction in the game? And then I think they put in the chat, Bill might not play tonight. We're still 50-50 on Bill, on Bradley Bill. And I haven't heard anything about Mitchell Robinson because they're saying that it will be announced today if he'll be back for tonight. But go ahead, J Boog, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking for Mitch to play. I'm hoping he played. You know, I saw him in Atlanta and dapped him up. You know, I'm like, yo, monster, when you coming back? He told me he ready for 24. So, you know, but I think it's more, you know, him being, you know, you got three forms. First, the medical got to clear you. And then you have to prove that you can play. And then the office makes the decision, you know what I'm saying? I hope he plays, you know, that'll be a turn up. But for us right now, yo, I'm ready to go, man. I want to see the squad do what they got to do. I want that 5th seed. I want that number 5. I don't want 6. I want 5. You know what I'm saying? I know 4 is going to be hard, but I could take 5 because that means we might be playing Cleveland. I want to go to Cleveland. I want to split that 1-1. I want to go back to the Garden for game 3, tied 1-1, and we taking over that series. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the team do what they got to do. It starts tonight, man. Handling your business. You know, you gotta beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. Anybody that's behind us in the standings, you are supposed to beat them. Don't let them come up. Keep your foot down on their neck. This is what we need to do.
Right.
Everybody ought to feel like they got something to prove. Forget what happened in the first half. Finish the season. You know, RJ, you should feel like you had something to prove. Grimes, you should feel like you had something to prove. You got free at the All-Star game. You let people know that you're just as good, if not better, than some of the peers that get more highlight. And so you was a man that night. You know, I need that to carry over to the games coming to the rest of the season, man. And I already know what Brunson gonna do. You already know what Julius is gonna do. You know, I already know what them guys is gonna do. All I know is that we need to just win games. Tom, you need to go ahead and see things before they happen and they get too late. You got to call timeout. Critique, see the game, watch the game, and do what you got to do, you know. Call your shots, you know, make your adjustments in games, you know, do what you got to do. But I'm looking for us to beat Washington tonight. I look for it to be 123 to 111, point blank. Knicks and the under. It's probably going to be something like 236, 237, somewhere around that. And if Bill is not playing, you know, Knicks and the under, 123, 111. I gave it to you, man.
Copy, definitely. SK, you got a dip. Love you, my guy. Make sure you guys
appreciate y'all for having me.
SK, I'll be in the chat tonight, Brody. All right.
100, bro. I'll chop it up with y'all in a minute.
All right, later.
Salute to Phil. Salute to J Boogie. I already know the vibes, man. We locked in.
Salute, brother.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Salute,
and
my
don't
guy,
worry
SK.
about giving Nerd that hat back because you can't fit it no more. Them dreads.
You're a fool, J Boog. You're a fool. But I was just checking Twitter right now. There hasn't been an official report from like any of the blue check marks, nothing from the Knicks or Ian Begley. But I seen someone on Twitter that said Mitchell Robinson was at the shoot around this morning with the team. doing activities, so maybe that signs are pointing to he may be cleared for tonight, but it's a wait and see process at the moment. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. My man Chris Joseph in the chat, Delano Still Jr., TC Stills, my man Sunil. We surveyed 100 people, SK, DSJ, everybody who was in the chat. We appreciate you all. And like always, peace, salute, love, salutation. The link for the new chat is the link for the new channel is in the chat right now. J Boogie's channel is in the link for the chat right now. Make sure you sub to the new channel. Make sure you sub J Boogie and SK. Phil, any last thoughts before we dip out? Take us out with these beautiful people.
No, it's going to be a busy week of Knicks content, from us and many others. So we thank you all for continuing to support, continuing to buy into what we're all doing. Support as many people as you can, even if you're just walking, and you could throw someone's video on, get those likes up, get those subscriptions up for our channel and everybody else's, get J Boogie's up. And, if you're a Knicks content creator, the one thing I'll say is don't give up. It's not necessarily always about the likes and the follows. It's about doing what's true to you and supporting the orange and blue like you want to. So salute to those that are putting out good content. Keep it up. And we will we will talk to you guys on Monday morning. But look for my good, the bad, and the ugly tomorrow morning, where we will talk about what we saw from tonight's game of our New York Knicks. Appreciate you guys. Blessings.
Yes, J Boog. Love you, peace.
Peace.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my hand ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem damn bad. Gotta keep on sugar, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed heavy, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that, it's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up, I'm trying to get it an FT to get them when they're hand and crypto.